Welcome to another episode of Moon Monkey. On this episode we discuss Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins.
Wonder Woman is the latest superhero movie from DC. It's been getting a lot of praise because it's the first kind of female-led superhero movie and first superhero movie directed by a woman as well. It's done really well at the box office. So basically it tells the story of Diana Prince, who starts off on the island of Themyscira. She's an Amazonian. We see her as a little girl growing up, learning how to fight. And there's a whole backstory with the idea that the Amazonians were put there to kind of defend men against the god of war, Ares. It's also taking place at the same time as World War One. So Steve Trevor, a spy, arrives at Themyscira, managed to discover this kind of hidden island. He's been chased by Nazis then, not Nazis. He's been chased by the Germans, German soldiers who arrive at Themyscira. So Wonder Woman, who's now grown up, Diana Prince, realizes that there's a war going on outside the island. She decides to join with Steve Trevor and go and help him fight this war against the wishes of her mother and her aunt and all the other Amazonians who don't go with her. So she just travels off on her own.
No, her aunt wants her to go.
Yeah.
Her aunt wants, she's like, you need to go, you need to do what you have to do,
Yeah.
defeat Ares.
So it's basically a kind of worlds colliding plot, and there's a lot of fish out of water comedy with Diana Prince learning about life on the outside. She visits London and Europe and goes to the front lines. Yeah, and a lot of stuff about, obviously, her culture is not really the same as the culture of 1910s Europe. So yeah, a lot of kind of funny stuff. Obviously DC has, they've done Man of Steel, now Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad. Safe to say they've been having a lot of problems with their trying to get this extended universe idea off the ground, and they're not really done a good job of showing their characters in the best light. But this is probably the first film. It's been getting really ecstatic praise from people, and I think it's the fact that they've made like a really solid film, and actually just people are relieved that they've managed to do just a decent job with the character, and actually, show the character for what she is. Like, they're not trying to make it overly gritty and dark. It is a superhero movie. And to be honest, like, my favourite parts of the film were the beginning, opening sequences on Themyscira. Like, it's a really bright kind of Greek, Mediterranean island paradise. Yeah, and you see her as a young girl growing up, and like you kind of, you see the Amazonians and their culture, but without it being overly explained. It just shows you their culture, and you have these giant statues. It's really great set design and costumes and choreography with the fights and things. So that I really liked. And then obviously she joins the First World War. So you're not only getting a superhero movie, you're also getting a little bit of a war movie thrown in there as well. Kind of two types of movies coming together.
A little bit of Greek mythology.
Yeah, a little bit of Greek mythology. Well, that's the whole thing with the whole setup is she's an Amazonian, and I love Greek mythology. I wasn't a huge fan of the fact that the film attempts to rewrite Greek mythology for its own ends here. So you have all the gods have been killed except for Ares, who's somehow still around and causing trouble by starting wars. But the Amazonians are kind of unaware of this until Steve Trevor arrives. I think the older ones know that it's going on outside the island, maybe, but Wonder Woman doesn't until he arrives, and she thinks, it's our job to really protect people, or defeat Ares, so I have to go and try and find Ares and kill him. One of the things about it is her character's really naive as well throughout the film. Like, she thinks that by killing Ares, that ends the war. Whereas as the audience, you think, it's not quite, war isn't quite as simple as that. It's, the motivations for it. It's not as simple as killing one person and ending. Which, Chris Pine's character, Steve Trevor, keeps trying to explain this to her, but she can't really understand. She just thinks, no, it's just Ares. I kill him, that ends the war. Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman, did a fantastic job, I thought.
Yeah, it was a really good cast overall. I thought everybody, like the supporting cast, was really good too.
She has good comic timing, I think. That's the thing. Like, she's not only like she's quite good at the physical stuff. Like, she did a great job with the fight sequences, but also it's like her looks like she has good comic timing and good comic sensibilities, which is one thing that the DC films have been lacking. Someone who can pull off humour. Because that's Marvel's big success. It's just humour. That's why people have a good feeling when they watch Marvel films, because you laugh a lot through it and you have a good time.
Yeah.
And the DC ones always feel like you're not really having a good time watching them because there's not those jokes and humour. Whereas this had a good blend of humour and action.
But I think they might get that as they have more of a universe and they've got more people interacting, and you have those relationships with the different superheroes. Because that's what's good about the Marvel ones, it's interactions between Thor and the Hulk, and between Captain America and Iron Man. Whereas like in this, you have to build those relationships with like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
But the Marvel ones also, the writing is always, I feel, a little stronger. Like you do have better jokes and funnier scenes, and DC doesn't. Whereas
I think they're trying to be more darker and stuff like that. But I mean, like, that's just what they're going for.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to you don't want it to be the exact same as your like opponent.
Competitor.
You want it to be,
this is maybe
different.
a problem that's come down from studio. Like the studio's trying to make it dark, and everything really follows from that fundamental thing of, they're superheroes. If you look at like the old comics, they're brightly coloured. They're meant to be entertaining for children.
I mean, it's still entertaining. Not all comics are meant for kids, though.
I think this is the thing. A lot of people said it goes back to like probably Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight did so well, or his Batman Begins did so well with the grittier approach, that a lot of people have tried to emulate it, but kind of emulate it, but also put the fantasy element in, and the two things are a little jarring. It's like it's hard to do. One of the things that like I kind of mentioned was like the final third of the film, when it gets down to like her fighting Ares, which is kind of building up. It's like we've seen it quite a few times before, where it's just like the hero taking on the bad guy, and I felt like they could have resolved it in a more intelligent way, or thought of like a different way, or something we haven't really seen before. Because I really had high expectations for this film, and I was hoping that it was going to be, because it's a female superhero and Wonder Woman, it's a character we've not seen before, it's a chance to do something really unique and different. And then, early on it's quite unique, and the middle's quite unique, and then the end it just goes into kind of generic. We've seen this with almost every superhero. They've had the same ending. Whereas I felt like it was a chance to do something more unique because she's her own character. But the way she solves her problem is kind of the same way that, everyone else would also solve the problem. Because she's obviously super strong, super fast, has all these abilities. But yeah, it definitely deserves praise. It's definitely better than, like I said, definitely better than the other DC films.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought like the direction was good. The story was good. It was enjoyable. Like the supporting cast was really good. I haven't really talked about them, but
it had like Ewan Bremner was really funny. Lucy Davis, who played the Chris Pine's secretary, had a lot of really funny lines in it.
Yeah, she was probably there to give that kind of more comic. Out of all the supporting cast, she was given that kind of comic element. Yeah.
Also, it was just kind of a lot of like the charisma as well of Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's relationship as well was quite good. I thought, like, they kind of had a good chemistry that worked well.
Yeah.
Which was missing in, it's missing in other films. And one of the things that like Suicide Squad and Batman Superman didn't do well is like a collection of scenes, whereas this had a strong story following through. So you're really rooting for her from the beginning when you see her as a young child right through to her final battle. Whereas the others is kind of more spectacle and like, here's an action scene, but there's no connection and you don't have time to build up any kind of, relationship with the characters. Whereas with her, you like, it does a good job as an origin story. You get a sense of who Wonder Woman is, why she's fighting, and you're really rooting for her. So I'm kind of, I guess the next time we see her will be in the Justice League movie, and hopefully she has a big role in to play in Justice League, because obviously she's going to be one of a kind of collective in that, with Batman and Superman and Aquaman, The Flash. But hopefully they give her a lot of
Cyborg,
and hopefully they give her a lot of
can't forget him.
A lot of screen time. But that's the other thing, like, because they haven't they're doing it like a really weird way round. Like they're not doing all the origins first, like Marvel did.
Yeah.
So that's one of the weird things with this. Like you've already seen her in I guess a teaser of her in Batman Superman.
But overall, Wonder Woman good.
Yeah, like
different, getting too bogged down in the overall universe.
Yeah, it's like a solid action superhero movie that probably tails away a little like towards the end. But yeah, definitely like a really positive start for this character, and hopefully we'll see kind of that expanded on in future movies with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'd really recommend that. I thought it was really well shot, and the way they introduced the characters, it's quite moving as well, with like her backstory with her family on the island, and then meeting Chris Pine and thinking that I have to do this is what I'm for. Like her discovery on the island that I'm like I can destroy a god and I'm the only one that can do it, and thinking I have to do this, or what's the point? I can't just stay on this island. I've got to be what I am.
Yeah.
And not hide. It was really good. And then just the supporting cast was really good, and the scenes in London and like the trench warfare and just seeing the town and feeling like I have to do something. It's always like feeling like I'm a superhero and this is what my job is to be here.
Well, they said they based a lot of it on like the original Superman and that very typical superhero qualities. Because that's the thing in Batman and Superman, they weren't really doing anything heroic because they were fighting each other. Or you kind of see them saving people, but it was like an afterthought. Whereas this, she really is like a heroic character.
Yeah.
Her whole raison d'etre is to protect the innocent and end war, which is something I suppose everyone could get behind.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. She's a very kind of that all-American hero, I guess.
I think it was just back to almost basics in
Old
a way
school.
of like just
Superhero
doing the right thing and doing it in a very enjoyable, watchable way. It was really good. I mean, I would say it was probably like the best DC one for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And
well, the best DC one that they've done since they started their extended universe idea, definitely, or easily better than what they've done before.
Yeah.
And compared to Marvel, it's like up there, probably upper half of like all of the superhero movies, I would say. So that was our review of Wonder Woman. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with another review very soon.